This is Plus TV Africa. Welcome to One on One. I am Elsie Godwin. Today we'll be one-on-one with Onyeka Akumah, who is the CEO and founder of Nigeria's first digital agriculture platform, FarmCrowdy. Thank you for joining us on Plus TV
Thank you
Africa.
very much.
Okay, FarmCrowdy launched in November 2016. That's about 3 years. How has the journey been so far?
It's been an interesting experience. It's not my first startup, and so I've been able to gather some knowledge from previous startups I'd worked in. But coming into the agriculture space and then trying to fuse technology into agriculture, it's been one experience that I will be happy to relive again with maybe another sector in the future. But it's been a very good one. We've grown in size. We've grown. The team has grown. I mean, we're a team now of 53 of us in FarmCrowdy. We cut across 13 states in the country, running offices in Lagos, in Abuja, and in some of the investor relations one has to do in the US. It's been a good experience so far, and I'm grateful that we find ourselves in the position we are today.
Okay, you said if you have to relive this experience in other sectors, you wouldn't mind. So what sectors do you think you might
There are three sectors that I've always paid attention to personally. Agriculture, real estate, and transportation. I always said in the past that I hadn't seen a lot of technology come into these sectors and really have a lasting impact on Nigerians or Africans as a whole. Agriculture I picked first to walk around FarmCrowdy with. I'm devoted to that at the moment 100% to see how we continue to grow our impact in that sector. But when you talk about real estate, you talk about housing for people and how we've used technology in that space. It goes beyond advertising that a house exists in point A and point B, but actually creating solutions that people can relate with. And I haven't still seen some of that, so I'm actively looking at that. Then in transportation, I mean, I didn't really touch transportation first because my experience with Wakanda and Travel Bet already put me in the travel space, and that had a bit of transportation there. Then there was also Uber and
so where will you place Uber and Taxify?
Yes, the ride-hailing startups. So I'm still having my eyes there, but I'm not now. For now, it's totally on FarmCrowdy, it's totally on agriculture, it's totally on impacting the lives of farmers.
Did you know anything about farming prior to FarmCrowdy?
So what I usually tell people is that my first business was actually a chicken farm. I was 12 years old when my mom made me raise a couple of hundreds of birds, and she said to me that I should raise them, and then this was September of that year, and said I should raise them and I was going to sell them at Christmas, and then I'll give the money to Santa Claus and he'll buy me a gift. Okay. I believed that. So I went on to raising those birds, and then we sold some. I was excited about that. But the ones we couldn't sell, we had to kill them and make them, serve them on Christmas for us to eat. I think that was what spoiled the business for me, because chicken eggs was on the table. Basically, I said that just ended that business. So that was the only experience I had in agriculture before this. And that was also instrumental to how we started the business. I was careful about starting small to make sure we understood the whole process of agriculture. And it was good for us to go that way, because eventually we had a lot of lessons down the road. If we had gone big, it would have been a total disaster and we wouldn't have gotten to where we are today. But in starting small, we've been able to scale over time. Having learned how to deal with risk, how to deal with all the factors that we had to deal with in growing the business, and this is where we are today now. Okay,
looking at FarmCrowdy, someone on the outside would probably think it's just a website where people just invest. I need you to put us through the day-to-day activities of the company itself. What do you have to go through on a daily basis to make sure the business is running?
Okay, so FarmCrowdy's website allows people to put money through the site to sponsor farmers. What you get on the website is a dashboard that then gives you updates about pictures, videos, and text of what is actually happening on the farm. In addition to that is if you've sponsored a farm, you have records of what you've sponsored. And at the end of the cycle, it prompts you that your cycle is done, and then you should be expecting your return after harvest. That is the cool part that you see on the platform. The second thing that happens is, or the first thing that really happens before you can then sponsor a farm is, we identify different farm types, whether it's maize, rice, cassava, chicken farms. that we want to work on. We go to the field to go and identify the farmers we're going to work with. In identifying those farmers, we would have already done some research around who's going to buy this harvest from us. And so the buyer will tell us, I need 1.8 kg chickens. And they should all be this big, and they should be this size, and they should be this color. And then we take that and design a protocol that we use to go and select the farmers we work with through the farming cycle. So in going to the field, we identify those farmers through their cooperatives. We sign them up, we get their data, we sign them up on our platform, and then we show them the protocol. We do some training for them to understand how they should go about their farming activities to make sure they get the desired harvest. The farmer then gets this, and then he signs up on the platform and is ready to receive the sponsorship. We then make the sponsorship available on the website for people to put their money through the platform. When the money comes to us, we then buy up the inputs. So the inputs are things like, for chicken, it will be the day-old chicks, it will be the feeds, it will be the medicines that will be needed, it will be preparing the pen, it will be vaccinations and all. And we get all of that available, and then we disbursing them to the farmers on a planned basis based on the project timeline. So there's a technical field specialist on that farm that is giving these things to the farmer part-time. The farmer then goes to work and is raising this day-old chick to a proper 1.8 kg chicken that you may eat in ShopRite in the Keja. But before it gets to the 1.8 kg chicken, the farmer is able to get updates. The technical expert is able to get updates and send them to the sponsor, so that the sponsor can get those pictures, videos, and text. And so that happens for the sponsor while the farmer is working. And then as we approach harvest, we then get the buyers ready to buy up what we've reached, the milestone we've been able to achieve in terms of the quality or the quantity that they want. They mop up the harvest, and then they pay FarmCrowdy. The FarmCrowdy is then able to pay the farmers their money, is able to pay the sponsors their money back, plus there is the promised return after harvest, and then we make something at the end of the day. This is what happens on the field. In the team in-house, there's a lot of technology we're building, there's a lot of people management we're doing, there's a lot of financial management that we're doing, and all of this comes together to make what you have as a beautiful website.
Yeah. So the technicalities you just mentioned, I mean, we can't all understand it. What is the major challenge you've had to face in this business? It's
maybe two, three. The first one is finding the right people on the team. Early on in the business, especially because I didn't have experience in agriculture. My experience has always been in marketing, building other businesses, and technology. But in starting up this business, I was trying to identify who's the right person to work with me on the team. And I took the wrong route of using CVs. So people had 20 years, 50 years experience, and you felt like, oh, this guy is going to be a guru and he's going to help with this and help with that. And that became a challenge for us, identifying the right people. And so we had to then devote time to putting core values and structures in place around. Once you come in through the door with your CV, we'll put you through several tests and processes to find out whether you're the right fit for the team. The second challenge was getting the farmers to understand the model. But over time, that has changed. So if a farmer tells you, this approach you're coming to me with is not what I'm happy to go on. My father's taught me how to just put cassava on the ground, and I go at harvest, and what I see is what I take. The rest, the gods take. Like, no, but you can't do that when you're taking people's money. You've got to be accountable to a process. So training the farmers became expensive for us. But over time, in getting the results we've gotten from the ones that joined us, we've gotten, for instance, in the state, it took us about 3-4 months to identify 200 farmers. We wanted 500 farmers in that state. 200 farmers to work with us. It took us 3 months to 4 months to get those farmers to join us. By the time we went full cycle with this activity, the farmers that came on board the next time, well, there were over 2,000 of them. Was it a case of them not trusting the process or not understanding the process? It wasn't a case of not. It was first a case of not trusting the process because it was new, and then to everybody that meets something new, there's usually that fear of, will it work? Am I sure? I mean, let me just do what I'm used to, not to talk of where money is involved. So that was one problem. The second thing was just maybe the tools we're coming to them with and how to show them the way of farming that they were saying to themselves, we don't want this Oyibo technology. We're comfortable with what we've known from time. And that became an issue. But in showing them in performing some demonstration farms for them, they were convinced to join us.
Okay, so you're going to mention the third challenges you're facing.
Yeah, the third challenge we faced was funding. It was difficult for us, not necessarily difficult, but we had to decide how we were going to present ourselves as an organization. It was quite difficult getting people to understand the model, especially because we're the first in Nigeria. We're pretty much maybe the first in Africa. And if there was maybe one or two other platforms that existed in the world that was doing something similar to what FarmCrowdy was doing, there won't be more than 3. So that struggle with convincing equity investors that this is a business that you should invest in, because we're not just doing good for doing good's sake. We're doing good and doing well. And so you'll be making money, and then people's lives will be changing. So that became a challenge initially. But we very quickly tackled that. We're showing track record, we started showing traction, we started showing how we were able to start small and then get some results, and that's actually changing over time for us.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the major aims for FarmCrowdy is to engage close to 2 million Nigerian youths to make them understand that they can participate in agriculture through technology.
Yep.
How much of a success have you recorded in this area, and do you think they are open-minded enough to understand that this is important?
So there are 2 entry points, and we made them 2 entry points to join FarmCrowdy. One, you can come as a farm sponsor and put your monetary platform, and you're getting something at the end of the day. The second entry point is you come in as a farm follower. Now, to a farm follower, what you would do is you select any of the farm types that you were interested in, and then you get the pictures and videos and text updates about what's happening on that farm. But beyond that is you're getting educated about the agriculture process. You get to see how people make money from it. We decided to create a mobile app to help people follow more farms. Today we have close to 100,000 people that have downloaded our mobile app in the last 18 months. And we've not really gone aggressive about pushing that mobile app out. We've been fine-tuning a lot of things. We've changed the mobile app a couple of times to add more features, to make it a lot more interesting for people. Now we're ready to push that out. The second thing we've done is we've built the largest community for agriculture in Africa. As of today, we have 10,000 people that have signed up on that community. These are agric enthusiasts. These are students of agriculture. These are lecturers in agriculture. It's pretty much like your Naira land for agriculture, where you come to and all the questions you have around agriculture, you can ask and you get answers to them almost immediately with a forum style. In addition to that is we've provided content around agriculture. So news content, jobs, grants, all the information people want. We've provided another platform within the same platform. It's called Agric Square. And so in having these 2 sets of channels to touch the young people, to touch youths, we're able to deploy our technology to different areas that allow us to have touch points with a couple of these people. And then also when I look at our social media channels, if I put everything together, I have close to 200,000 people that engage with us on a daily basis around stuff related to agriculture. So it's making it a lot more interesting for the younger people to understand and appreciate what really happens on the farm and how the food on the table that they're eating gets to them. In achieving our goal of 2 million by 2023, this year we are going to go very aggressive with some of those platforms and get more people involved. So we want every faculty of agriculture in all the universities in Nigeria to have their own community on Agric Square. We want all the departments of agriculture in any parastatal to have their community there, so that together they start speaking the same language and start communing and start having conversations and continue to grow the sector. So that's going to be our goal eventually. And that's why we see ourselves touching that milestone by 2023. Okay,
so you are private sector doing this. At the moment, would you say the government is doing enough in the agricultural sector?
There's been a lot of push. There's been a lot that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Rural Development has done, and we're quite encouraged by what they've done. I think they've also done a lot of sensitizing. There was that quote of agriculture is the new oil, that existed in 2015 that made a lot of people excited about getting involved in the space. And it has drawn a lot of investment and interest in that sector. I think from that perspective, there's been a lot of work that has gone into sensitizing the public. And we're grateful to that, because without that effort, FarmCrowdy may have not gotten the traction we've gotten today. There's also been a lot of investment in infrastructure, but I think a lot more can be done in that regards. Also, how much has been done to encourage a tech platform that's focused on agriculture when it comes to FarmCrowdy, and how much the Vice President did in coming to our office to understand what we're doing in FarmCrowdy, sitting with us for 45 minutes to go through our process, to ask us questions, to even go ahead and encourage people to sponsor farms. That was very instrumental for us, and that put us also in a very good light, and we were encouraged by that effort. But I think a lot more just needs to be done, and it needs to be consistent. It needs to continue to happen, and let it not just be a one-off thing. I think that much has been done. But in scaling up our efforts, I think there needs to be a lot more collaboration between the private sector and the government in order to turn agriculture into business and start achieving the goals that are set for an agri-business venture. There's got to be that touch point, and we're encouraged by what the Nigeria Agribusiness Group is doing, but we want to see more of that driving policies and continue to establish startups, and continue to establish organizations, educational institutions that will continue to grow the sector. Okay,
let's talk about the conflict between herdsmen and farmers in Nigeria. I mean, that's very important. And in June 2018, FarmCrowdy lost some farmers. And you are quoted to have said the FarmCrowdy is avoiding places like that. Are you still avoiding those places at the moment?
Yeah, so if you sponsor the FarmCrowdy, you will want us to make sure we've done due diligence around where that sponsorship goes to. I think that becomes our responsibility as custodians of the sponsorship that comes through our platform. And so in making business decisions, we had to make sure, for the sake of not just the sponsorship that comes through the platform, but for the sake of our team members that we have to put in some of these farms to manage the farmers, we had to make certain decisions around the fact that we had to pull some of them out from those risky, security concern areas. It's true, in last year we had an incident at Barrack and Ladi, a place that I had gone to and I had met the farmers. We had about 500 farmers there that were growing maize and they were growing soya beans for us there. And when that crisis happened, we didn't just lose the farms. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them lost their families. And it was a very sad situation. And up till now, we still haven't seen enough, we don't have enough confidence to go back to Barrack and Ladi to go and start another farm there. We're concerned about farmers across the country. We want to go to other states that we can put our sponsorship in and get a return after harvest and pay sponsors their money, and everybody's happy. That is our duty. I think it's someone else's duty to deal with the security situation, and that's not our core responsibility.
Okay, we're talking about the losses. I mean, there are deaths. We all hear it, and sometimes we do not understand the magnitude of what this is causing. How much would you say this crisis is affecting agriculture right now? For
instance, if FarmCrowdy is not able to take money back to that particular location, I mean, it's not a lot of money we have to sponsor those farmers, but that little we could have done for 500 farmers in that particular location had to stop. And if these farmers are not able to go back to the farm to work for the fear of what will happen to them, for the lack of security in that location, how will they put food on the table? It's all they know how to do. So it becomes a major issue. It has a huge effect. And to everywhere, that's why to everywhere that there's a crisis today in the country, everything stops. It's not just agriculture. It's agriculture, it's transport. You cannot drive through those areas. You cannot go to the hospital safely in those areas. Everything stops, including agriculture. So it has a huge impact. And we only pray, we only hope that something is done faster in all of these areas. We commend our security forces. They are doing a great job, but they can do better and faster. That is what we want. And when those things are solved and those issues are taken care of, then we can go back to those places and work with. I mean, we're happy to work with those farmers as long as we're safe.
Yeah, safety first. FarmCrowdy is a new subsidiary of FarmCrowdy Group.
Yeah.
Aside the word subsidiary, what is the major difference between FarmCrowdy and FarmGate?
So what we've done is we've identified the fact that across the value chain, the agricultural value chain, there are so many other opportunities beyond core production that we can use technology to disrupt. Our model sits on getting people to sponsor farmers to produce what we will eat or what we will sell. There is the logistics angle, there's the warehousing angle, there's the marketing angle. And what we've just done with FarmGate is we've identified the fact that among the three major challenges that farmers experience, one is the access to funding to buy the right inputs. Second is training. And third is market access. We've now taken market access and turned it into another business. And that's what FarmGate is. So the difference between FarmCrowdy, so there's FarmCrowdy production, there's FarmGate Africa, and eventually there's going to be AgriSquare, which we'll announce later on in the year when we'll launch effectively. With FarmCrowdy production, it sits around sponsoring core production activities that happen from putting seed in the ground and expecting a harvest. With FarmGate, it waits for the harvest to come, and then it mops up. It's an aggregator. So it mops up harvest and makes it available to buyers. Both the harvest that comes from FarmCrowdy and the harvest that comes from other farmers across the country. So a buyer can come and say, I want 10,000 metric tons of maize. And FarmCrowdy has maybe done 500 metric tons of maize in the last season of farming. What FarmGate Africa will then do is mop up the 500 from FarmCrowdy and look for other farmer clusters that can provide the quality of maize that this buyer wants and then provide it to the buyer. So that's pretty much.
Yeah, but very quickly, one of the challenges in FarmGate marketing is ensuring compliance to hygiene. What measures have you put in place to ensure that there is quality control and quality maintenance? One
of the things we are known for is our feet is always on the ground. We have sieving centers, we have quality control centers that are scattered across different locations where the farmers bring their foodstuff to a cluster. At the end of the day, they're able to go to, once the harvest passes through the quality control and gets into our warehouse, it is certified as sold. And the farmers get paid almost immediately. So that becomes an opportunity for these farmers to know that if they meet the right quality, we'll mop them up. To the buyers, they are not worried any longer about what FarmGate Africa is giving them because they have seen the quality control we put in those centers. Those clusters are close to the farmers. And understand that for something to go into our warehouse, it has met the standards that are required.
All right. Thank you so much for your time with us at PlusTVAfrica.
Thank you very much, Elsie.
All right. And that is it on One-on-One. We've been chatting with Onyeka Akumah, CEO, FarmCrowdy Group. Thank you for watching. I am Elsie Godwin.